Welcome to the Stormsurf Video Surf Forecast for the Indian Ocean for the week starting Sunday, September 7th. Brought to you by Kandui Resort in the Mentawai Islands, a great place to go surfing. First, we'll take a look at significant wave height charts for the Indian Ocean. Currently, it looks like what would be high pressure, given the lack of seas, is sort of off of Madagascar, with a flow pushing under the high. Two areas of 26-foot seas, another area of 32-foot seas. One would think that maybe the Indian Ocean is starting to fade and lose a little bit of energy, but if you go and look at the actual charts and what's to come, that's far from the truth. First, let's take a look at jet stream level winds, see what's going on for the next week in the upper atmosphere. It is the winds in the upper atmosphere that help support the formation of storms down at the ocean surface, and these winds also help to direct the storm's path when they form. As we suspected, sort of a zonal flow going on here under Africa, flat. We're looking for a trough, a bow to the north, and clearly that is happening here under southwestern Australia, and that's where the 32-foot seas were that we noticed associated with the gale. It is these winds pushing up here, form a clockwise circulation down at the ocean, at mid-levels of the atmosphere. That helps support low-pressure development down close to the ocean's surface. That generates winds and generates swell. So we'll put this into motion, see what happens. We're looking for a trough to develop, and sure enough, here we go. On about Tuesday, a trough starting to build. That is a bow in the jet to the north, just west of the Kerguelen Islands, supported by winds in about the 150 knot range. That trough kind of washes out a little bit, but then redevelops some by Friday. Okay, and another one behind it. These are not real deep and strong troughs, but there you go. Bit good enough to what appears to support gale development, and yet another one here developing. This is a stronger, almost a circulation in the upper atmosphere by Sunday. So it looks like there is some hope. Certainly not a zonal flow, certainly not a crushing ridge. Let's go take a look and see what happens down at the surface. So now we're looking at surface level winds, surface level pressure. High pressure, just as we suspected, just east of Madagascar, 1032 millibars, and then a series of 1, 2, 3 low pressure systems, the one southwest of Australia with 45 knot winds, and that is what is generating the 32-foot seas in that area, and two more behind it. Let's put it into motion and see how this plays out. This system develops a little bit on Monday, maybe 45 knot winds, but then a stronger system, the one here south of Madagascar, this is 55, 60, maybe even a little bit more knot winds, 55 knot winds, let's say. That's good solid wind there. That's certainly storm force, and this early in September, late in the summer, is a pretty nice, pretty solid, impressive storm, and it hangs on. Let's actually put this back and it starts forming on Monday morning, and it just rolls out through, holding 45 knot winds into Wednesday. That's great. That's over 48 hours of strong gale force winds or more, all aimed reasonably well to the northeast. And yet another system behind that on Thursday, 40 knot winds, and yet another system behind, and this one goes up to 55 knot winds there for a little bit, and yet secondary fetch behind that with almost 50 knot winds on Friday, up to 55 knot winds. Look at that. And yet another system behind that, 45 knot winds, and yet another behind that, sort of merging a secondary fetch into Sunday, and it just keeps going on. So this is really and there we go. At the 180 hour, the machine is still in full gear. This is pretty amazing. It's been a fantastic summer or winter actually, for the southern hemisphere of the Indian Ocean, and it just will not stop. Let's go take a look at these significant wave height charts. So here we are, significant wave height chart, same one we saw before. 32-foot seas pushing towards southwest Australia, high pressure in this area, a string of systems trying to develop as they push east under South Africa. Put this into motion. First we get continued fetch in this area, 30-foot seas, another system starting to develop. Here we are Monday, small area, 38-foot seas south of Madagascar. This one explodes, quickly builds. Here we go, we're looking at about 50-foot seas on Tuesday morning. Relative to the Mentawai Islands, that is the It's hard to see here. It looks like about the 218-degree path right up to the Mentawais. Notice the arrows here pushing well up the Great Circle paths to the Mentawai Islands. Also reasonably well towards Western Australia too. So swell likely for those targets, and the system lifts north and holds, look at that, 48-foot plus seas into Tuesday night. Again, Mentawai Islands, what is that, about the 209 it looks like, and Western Australia 237-degree path. This looks like a good producer for long period swell. When you get 48, 50-foot seas, you're going to get at least a 22-second period, maybe more, perhaps early forerunners in the 24-second period range, assuming the system forms as forecast. It's not that far away, so the likelihood is pretty good that something significant is going to happen. And it continues east into Wednesday night before it finally starts fading out. But not to be too worried. Another system right behind that. Here we go into Friday. Small, very small, probably a smaller, longer period swell, unless you're here in Western Australia, then a bit more energy given because it's so close. And yet another system, and this larger in area here, only 28-foot seas, but then it builds into about the 30-foot sea range, again aimed well up towards the Mentawais at about the 212-degree angle, and Western Australia on about the 233-degree path. And that was the end of the run. So at least several systems on the charts. The Indian Ocean does not give up yet. Here's the surf height forecast chart for the Mentawai Islands for the coming week. Steady 7, 8-foot surf until you get into Wednesday. First swell arrives in the 12-foot range, sort of tapers off. Another pulse then on Saturday, 17-second period in about the 11 to 12-foot face range. And then we get into the big one arriving supposedly on Sunday. That's a week out. 19-foot faces supposedly, a little bit of south wind, not too bad, 5 knots, swell size in the 10-foot at 18-second range, pushing early arrivers probably in the 22-second range, so certainly a lot going on there. And relative to Southwest Australia, well, we saw the fetch just off the coast there. That swell comes in on Monday afternoon. 24, 25-foot faces possible. A lot of wind, though, a lot of west wind, nearly gale force, so it looks like kind of a washout. And then it slowly tapers off, but as it tapers off, so does the wind, looking like a pretty decent stretch here in the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. Still 10-foot surf, tapering off, and next to no wind. And then another pulse comes in by what is that, Saturday. This is the from the strong storm we saw on the charts, 20-second period, and surf heights in about the 15-foot range and tapering off, and winds look pretty good too here for the later half of that swell. So a lot going on. Indian Ocean is far from dead. It's been a great run for the Indian Ocean this year, and it has not given up the ghost. More going on, so it looks like a good time to be surfing if you're in Western Australia, the Mentawai Islands, or Bali. And a good time to book late season tickets. Kandui Resort, the Mentawai Islands, great place to go, friendly people, great surf. Check it out, kanduiresort.com. Okay, we'll do this again next week, same time, same channel. In the meantime, go get some waves and have fun. Thanks.